63-year-old Robert from Denver called me last month in absolute shock. He'd just finished what he called the most intense 60 days of his life, and it had nothing to do with exercise, diet, or supplements. He'd completely transformed his energy, his presence, even how women responded to him in public. And it started with one simple decision that goes against everything mainstream medicine tells men your age about sexual health. Now listen, I know what some of you are thinking. What does this young woman know about male sexuality and ejaculation? Here's the thing. I've spent over a decade in clinical practice, and older men discuss these intimate details with me more openly than they do with anyone else in their lives. They tell me things they've never shared with their wives, their doctors, even their closest friends. I've heard thousands of confessions, experiments, and results from men just like you across Chicago, Miami, Phoenix, and every major city in the U.S. And here's what shocked me most. The men who reported the most dramatic transformations after 60 weren't the ones taking testosterone or IUD medications. They were the ones who temporarily stopped doing what everyone says they should be doing more of. Now, let me be crystal clear about something before we go any further. Ejaculation is incredibly beneficial for men. The science is solid. Regular ejaculation reduces prostate cancer risk, helps maintain healthy hormone cycles, relieves stress, improves sleep quality, and supports overall cardiovascular health. These aren't myths. They're medical facts that I absolutely stand behind. Most men your age should be ejaculating regularly. It's natural, it's healthy, and it's necessary for long-term well-being. But here's where it gets interesting, and why Robert's experience isn't unique. What if I told you that temporarily stepping away from this natural process just for 60 days might reveal something about your body that you never knew existed? And just before we kick off, if you're man enough to challenge conventional wisdom and try something that might completely change how you feel in your own body, hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell, because what I'm about to share goes against decades of medical advice, and most channels won't dare discuss it this openly. So let's dig deep into what really happens when you stop ejaculating for 60 days. I'm not talking about some mystical religious practice here. I'm talking about a temporary experiment that dozens of my patients have tried, and their results have been honestly hard to ignore. These are practical, no-nonsense men from Dallas, Atlanta, Seattle, guys who don't buy into New Age nonsense but were curious enough to try something different. Here's what they reported. And I want you to really picture this happening to your own body. Within the first 2 weeks, they described feeling like they had more fuel in the tank. Not just sexual energy, mental energy, physical energy, the kind of sharpness they remembered from their 40s. Marcus from Houston, age 67, told me he suddenly found himself wanting to tackle projects he'd been putting off for months. He was waking up earlier, thinking clearer, and for the first time in years, he felt like other people were actually listening when he spoke. But here's where it gets really interesting, and this is something most doctors won't discuss openly. Several of my patients noticed changes in how women responded to them. Not because they were pursuing anyone or acting differently. They were actually less focused on women than usual. David from Portland, 61 years old, told me women at the grocery store started making eye contact and smiling. His neighbor, who'd barely acknowledged him for 3 years, suddenly started lingering to chat. His waitress at his regular coffee shop began remembering his order and asking about his day. Now, before you dismiss this as coincidence, understand that this wasn't one isolated case. I've heard this same pattern from men in Phoenix, Detroit, Nashville. They described feeling like they had some kind of invisible magnetism that they couldn't explain. The science behind this isn't fully understood, but some research suggests that retaining semen may influence pheromone production and confidence levels. Your body chemistry actually shifts when you retain versus release regularly. We shared detailed results from those experiments and deeper insights from them in one of last month's editions of the Senior Men Club weekly newsletter. If you haven't joined yet, I'll share the link with you at the end of this video. It's free. Now listen, I need to be medically responsible here. Some of the benefits I'm describing aren't backed by peer-reviewed studies. This is largely observational, based on what men have reported to me directly. The scientific community is split on this topic, and many consider it more spiritual than medical. That's exactly why I'm presenting this as a challenge, not a prescription. Here's what I've observed from the men who've tried this 60-day experiment. They didn't completely abstain. Most ejaculated about twice during this 60-day period, usually around day 20 and day 40. They said this kept them from feeling overly tense while still experiencing the benefits they were seeking. And here's the crucial part. The prostate health benefits of regular ejaculation don't disappear just because you reduce frequency for 60 days. Your body doesn't forget how to function properly in 2 months. Now, here's something fascinating that multiple men mentioned. They realized they'd been using ejaculation almost like a drug, a quick escape from stress, boredom, or anxiety. Just like any habit that becomes automatic, it was controlling them more than they were controlling it. During those 60 days, something interesting happened. That sexual energy didn't just disappear, it got channeled somewhere else. Robert started lifting weights again for the first time in 5 years. Marcus finally organized his garage and began woodworking projects he'd been planning for months. David enrolled in a photography class and started taking weekend hiking trips. It's like they had this discipline muscle they'd never properly exercised. Learning to control one urge gave them confidence to tackle other areas where they'd been letting themselves slide. The energy that used to get released quickly was now being invested in building things, creating things, improving things. Several men told me it felt like being in control of their own lives again instead of being controlled by automatic impulses. Okay, let me pause at this point and ask you, does this idea fascinate you or sound completely crazy? Have you ever tried anything like this before? Or noticed these kinds of patterns in your own life? And honestly, are you curious enough to actually try this 60-day challenge? Let me know in the comments. So here's my challenge to you, and I mean this seriously. If you're curious about what your body might be capable of, try this 60-day experiment. Not because ejaculation is bad, it isn't, but because you might discover something about your personal energy and presence that surprises you. The guidelines are simple. Significantly reduce ejaculation frequency for 60 days. Most men who've tried this successfully allowed themselves to ejaculate twice during this period, around day 20 and day 40. This prevents excessive buildup while still allowing you to experience potential benefits. Pay attention to your energy levels, your mental clarity, how people respond to you, and how you feel in your own body. Keep a simple journal if you want to track changes objectively. And here's an important medical note I'd drop for you. If you have any prostate concerns, history of prostate issues, or take medications that affect sexual function, consult your physician before trying this. This isn't medical advice. It's a personal experiment that some men have found valuable. And remember, this is temporary. After 60 days, you can return to your normal patterns with a better understanding of how different approaches affect your personal energy and well-being. So, are you going to try it? Tell me yes or no in the comments section. Whatever you choose is perfectly fine. By the way, if you want to stay connected with the most cutting-edge information about sexual health, confidence, independence, relationships, and physical strength for men over 60, the raw, explicit insights I can't share on YouTube, join my Senior Men Club weekly newsletter. It's completely free for men over 60, and every week, you'll get the unfiltered observations and strategies that help men stay dominant well into their later years. The link is in the description, and I'll pin it in the comments. Also, make sure to subscribe to this channel and hit that notification bell because I'll be following up on this topic based on your experiences. I want to hear what happens when you try this challenge. And seriously, drop a comment below and tell me, are you curious enough to try this 60-day experiment? What concerns do you have about it? What results would you hope to see? This community thrives on honest conversation, and your experience might help another man make a decision that changes his life. Remember, your best years aren't behind you, they're just waiting for you to discover what your body is truly capable of. I'm Dr. Avery, and I'll see you in the next one.